My name is Ann Carollo, and I am the owner of Gulf Coast Dance Center. And today I'm going to teach you how to do a grand battement. So grand battement means large or big for grand, and battement means to beat. So the action is our feet are either in fifth or first, but it is the leg going up and recovering back. The up and the height is the big part, and the coming back is the beat. So when I first teach this to my students, we are going to start in a first position, and we're going to work in the devant direction. We're going to place our arms here. So if you're at home, a chair might be too hard. That's not a great position for your body. So either the back of a kitchen counter, or if you have a portable ballet bar, I like the arms to be lengthened out and resting on your fingers. Now what we're going to do is the transition of our foot is going to be just like our tendu from first. So I'm going to slightly shift my weight into the left leg, and I'm going to glide my heels past each other to a full tendu, landing directly in front of my supporting heel. That is going to be count 1, and the reason is because the foot has to pass through a tendu to leave the ground. Then I would lift, I'm going to place it right back to the tendu, and I'm going to pull it closed. Okay, so I'm going to do that a little faster so you can see. So I pass through the tendu up, and I bring it back. In a combination scenario, what I would typically do is I would say count 1, up 2, place it 3, close 4, brush 5, close 6, brush 7, close 8. Okay, so that's how I would have my students pass through the pattern. Now for this to be really successful, when we kick to the front, we are going to typically overuse our hip flexors. What we actually need to do is use our lats. So the lats in our back by pulling down and lengthening in our tailbones, so not tucking, but dropping and lengthening, or my favorite, scooping your marbles, feeling that plate coming up so you zip up, is actually going to take over. So the point of the psoas and iliacus is to support your lower spine. So for it to be able to lift your legs, which it has to, you have to kind of transfer the job. So by pulling down and holding and pulling up those marbles, you're now taking the lats and they're supporting the lower spine. And now your hip flexors are free to do the work. So let's try that again. I'm going to scoop and I'm going to hold that as I transfer and I go up and I place it and down. So that is how we do grand battements devant. Now let's work on à la seconde. So à la seconde is to second, to the side. My feet are in first position again. I'm going to slide out to my tendu and lengthen, keeping my heel forward, the rotation happening, and lift, place it down, close, and I'm going to pass through and bring it back, and pass through, bring it back. Okay, so in first, I usually tell people think that your foot is like a train, and you don't want it to jump the track. So I don't want to kick it over here because my train jumped off this track, and I don't want to kick it back because, again, it ended up off the track. It's a funny little way to basically say maintain your turnout. So if you follow your leg, again, this is how you would think of it as a beginner. Follow the toe out and bring it back. As you advance, you can start working your turnout, but again, that comes from strength and muscle memory and years of training. Okay, let's now go from that's à la seconde. Let's now move to the last position that we do grand battements, and that is to derrière. So now we're going to work on grand battement derrière, and derrière means to the back. So same thing as the tendu devant. We're going to pass through a proper tendu, crossing the heels, landing with the toe behind the supporting heel. So we've got our tendu derrière. From here, we're going to lift, and we're going to place it down, and we're going to pull it in. And if we smooth it out, up and close, up and close. Now, I definitely like people to practice this facing a bar forward, and here's why. When we start throwing the leg behind us, the number one thing that happens is people will twist. They're trying to give into that leg. However, for us to maintain our posture for ballet, we have to keep our squareness, but here's the kicker. Our shoulders are going to try to stay square, but our pelvis actually has to rotate a little. There's no way that your leg is going to go up in the air if you don't rotate a little of the pelvis. So Two things I'm gonna think about. The supporting hip, I'm gonna stay lifted. And then instead of thinking about where my hip is going, I'm gonna think about the front of my knee, maintaining turnout where my knee is off to this side. So I'm gonna try to keep that same trajectory of my knee facing this way and pulling up in this side of my body and keeping this shoulder with me. Again, we're gonna go just a little forward and place it and close. So those are all the little tips and tricks on how to do a grand battement devant, a la seconde, and derrière. I hope that helps you. Again, this is in a first position. This is where I start everybody. You can do all the same stuff that we just worked on from fifth. Again, you pass through a tendu and you would do a battement and bring it back. A la seconde, it gets a little trickier because you're alternating where your feet are. And then to the back is the same thing to derrière. So again, you can take all the same tips and tricks and practice and implement it into your fifth position as well. Today, I introduced you to a grand battement. Again, a large beat. What I will tell you is, as basic as this step seems, one time I sat with my class and we counted how many things you have to think about to do a single grand battement, and it was 24. So why I say that, I guess, is that I want you to take this and think about the little details that you can bring in. A great tendu, explosion out of the leg and bringing it back, as well as your placement, finding those lats and being lifted. That's gonna get you through the first 3 to 4 steps of those 24. So I hope that with this video, I gave you a little bit of confidence to work through and start on this pattern and pathway for getting a great grand battement. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more, go ahead and subscribe, as well as leave me a comment, question, anything below. I love to hear them. I'm really enjoying what I'm reading. And again, hit the little bell so you get the notification on my next video. And remember, trust the process and enjoy your journey.